Okay, my bright, shining Algebra 1 kids. Okay, we don't have school Tuesday, it looks like. So let's move the test to Valentine's Day. We'll have a test on just the laws of exponents, pretty much. We'll see if scientific notation goes on or not as the week goes on. But let's do a practice with the laws of exponents. Now, the first ones are pretty quick. So if you don't need to pause the video, that's okay. But do the problem before I do it to see if you can do it. When you multiply two... No, did you do it yet? Did you do it? Did you do it? Oh my goodness. Oh no! My donuts are gone. Oh, life is rough. When you multiply two things same base, you add the powers. So notice 1 times 1 is 1. You don't change the coefficient. Then, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. When you have a base raised to a power, then you raise it to another power, you multiply. So that'd be x to the 48. We're cranking now. Hey, 3/4 squared, that means square both terms. So 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. Should we have a pop quiz Monday? I just don't know. A little tighter grading. Hey, when I'm dividing two things same base, I subtract and keep it where the larger power was. So 8 is bigger than 6, so you'd still have 2 of them on the bottom. Oh, the bigger one is on top. So it'd be 8 minus 6, 2. That's on the top. And then anything divided by itself is 1, except for what number, class? What number can I not put in for x when it's on the bottom? That's right, 0. If 0's on the bottom, it's undefined. That is true all the time. Yes, it is. Now we got some tricky problems here. Notice there's parentheses, so the 0 affects the whole term. So this is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Except for what number? That's right, 0. Can't raise 0 to 0 power. Now notice, no parentheses. Now, did you do this problem? No parentheses, so only the x is affected by the 0 power. 0 power is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Tricky problems. Now, parentheses. So the whole thing is affected by the negative power. Excuse me. Now remember, a negative power is like a remember. Move it. So I need to move it. But notice on this one, there's no parentheses around the 2. So the only thing affected is the base of x. Parentheses, so the whole thing moves. No parentheses, tricky problem. Most people get that wrong on a test. Then this one, oh, tricky, negative power, that means move this one down, but no parentheses, so you don't move this x. So you move this one down, it becomes a positive power. Nothing's left up there, so it's 1. Then x times x, this is messy, I apologize. It'd be 1 over x squared. No more! Oh, next line. Okay, here we go. Now again, pause me. Do the problem before me. Because if you're just watching me do it, you're not learning anything. You are not learning anything if you are not doing the problem first. Then once you do the problem, you can see where's my mistake. And if you see your mistake, then it usually sinks in. But, by the way, that's my index finger. Ooh, look at those pretty fingers. Hoo-hoo. Okay, here we go. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. X is 7th, x the 8th is x to the 15th. Y to the 8th, y to the 10th is y to the 18th. Ha-ha. Okay, reduce it. That'd be 2 over 3. 2 goes into both. But coefficients, numbers out front, are different than powers. Powers you subtract, so 10 is bigger, so it go on the bottom. Wow, I got the coffees today. 8 minus 4 is to the 4th. Now this one, tricky, tricky, tricky. I see negative powers. Negative powers are a reminder to move it, move it. We like to move it, move it. So I'm going to move this one on down. There's no parentheses, so the only thing that's affected is this. But this X stays on the bottom. And I'm going to move this one on up. And then this would be y to the 4th. Now, when they're on the same level, when you multiply two things, same base, you add the powers. Oh, this means I have to do two things. I have to negative power flip it, and I have to square it. So I'm going to flip it first. That'd be 4/3. But I still have to square it. So 4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9. Now remember, turn this off before you see me do it. You've got to do it. And then the last round, oops, kind of making a mess here. Let's move this down. There we go. So actually I have to do several things. I got to raise both of these to the 10th power, both of these to the 5th power, then multiply them together. So this would be x to the 60, y to the 70th, times x to the 15th, y to the 20th. Multiply two things, that'd be x to the 75th, times y to the 90th. Because when you multiply two things together, same base, you add. Nice job, Mr. Muppet. Thank you all. Now, hopefully I didn't make any dumb mistakes. Usually when I do these videos, I always have one dumb mistake I make. I am not perfect. So, when you have a base raised to a power and you raise to another power, you multiply. So this would be x to the negative 24. And then y to the negative 3rd times negative 4 would be 12. But I got a negative power. There's a rule that says you've got to move the negative power to the other place. So I'm going to move it on down. And then once you move it, I've done what the reminder tells me to do, so the negative power goes away. Okay, this one. So the negative is on the 2. There is no power on the 4, or it's 1. So I'm going to flip the 2, so I have 1/2 times 4. And half of 4 is 2. Now again, pause. Well, there's only 2 left, so hard to pause now, but base raised to power, then raised to another power. You multiply the powers. 4 times negative 3 would be negative 12. A negative means what? Take the reciprocal or flip it. Flip it. Then the last one is the trickiest one on the page. If I put this on the test, a lot of you would probably get this wrong because it's just that tricky. These negatives mean two different things. This negative means I owe. This negative means I flip. I owe, I flip. I owe, I flip. Flippy, flippy, flippy. Oh. So the answer is negative 1/3. Now, if the negative was down here with another number and you're multiplying, then two negatives make a positive. But this is a negative in the power. That means flip, 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 flip. This one's out front. That means oh. So it's two different things. Well, when I do this, I'm not trying to make you do a lot of extra work. Just practice is the key to mathematics. It is. So anyways, I'm going to turn this off and send it down the line. Have some fun.